So Kyle lives in Alexandria, Tennessee. We met when I was doing a show called Hidden Heroes. The premise of the show was, we've all heard the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village plus to raise a child that has disabilities and other challenges in their life. And so I went to the world-famous Shepherd Center, and after I bring Kyle up, I'm going to show you the actual minute, like the literal minute that I met Kyle. And honestly, it was love at first sight. And I have loved this man since the second I met him. He is an amazing, amazing soul. So let's give it up for Kyle Thomas. All right, so we haven't had Kyle at LEAP for almost about 6 years or so. It's been a while, COVID and a lot of other things. Before he does his presentation, I want to kind of show you the genesis of Kyle and my relationship. So let's start off with the Hidden Heroes and then go right into Ricky Lake.
Dr. Bill Dorfman believes there are heroes everywhere, in every community. Hidden heroes waiting to be found. With energy, desire, and compassion, our show is about finding and encouraging the heroes among us to reach out and lend a hand. And maybe, just maybe, change a child's life forever.
While at a charity event in DC, I met a young woman who suffered a severe spinal cord injury. So rather than fly back to LA, I decided to make a stop in Atlanta and see where she was treated at the world-famous Shepherd Center for people with brain and spinal cord injuries. I met a lot of people that day, but one young man made an impression on me that I couldn't shake. You graduated last year? And then were you starting college, or you took a little break off before you started? And you worked at McDonald's? That's awesome. I met a boy named Kyle and his family. Only a week earlier, he was nearly killed in an auto wreck.
I was really, really overwhelmed, when I got the phone call after work, and I didn't know if he was going to live. I didn't know if he was going to die. It was very, very emotional. I just didn't know what I was going to do.
The first thing he said to me when I said, Kyle, what do you want to do in life? He said, I want to help people, and I believe he will.
He says, Mama, he said, do you think I was going to die? And I looked at him, and I said, yeah, Kyle, I thought you was going to leave me and your daddy. I said, I prayed to God that you wouldn't leave me. And he looked at me, and he was sitting there, and he says, I never give up, Mama. He said, I never give up. He said, I won't give up, leave you, Mama.
He won't leave you.
Do you know what it's like to have your 18-year-old son look at you, broken all pieces, and tell you when you're walking, and you won't ever give up?
I know. He was from a poor family with limited resources. Even though with a breathing tube he could barely speak, his spirit was undeniable. I left determined to make a difference in his life.
Today we're talking about the real-life heroes amongst us. Our next guest is a different kind of hero. He is trying to take his own devastating personal tragedy and turn it into something positive. Here's Kyle's story.
One of my biggest regrets. The night before that I wrecked, I promised my mom I would never drink and drive.
I didn't know if he was going to live. I didn't know if he was going to die. It was very, very emotional. Do you know what what it's like to have your 18-year-old son. Look at you, broken all pieces.
Why the need to help him?
You know, I was in Atlanta at the world famous Shepherd Center, which is an institute for brain and spinal cord injuries. And I met Kyle. And here's this young man. He can't talk. He's on a ventilator. He's completely broken up, and we're talking. And I said, Kyle, what are you going to do with your life now? He said, I want to help others. I'm like, who says that? You know?
Heroes say that.
Heroes say that. And at the time, I run a LEAP, it's called LEAP. It's a program at UCLA for high school and college kids. It's an inspirational, motivational program. I said, Kyle, when you get better, you're gonna come to my LEAP Foundation, you're gonna talk to these kids and you're gonna inspire them and you're gonna tell them your story, because if you can save one of them, it's all worth it, you know?
It is.
Amazing. Amazing. What would you like to say to him, Kyle?
I would like to tell everybody that you are looking at one of the most amazing and magnificent men. I'm telling you, he gives more opportunities than I could ever express in words. I would never have a chance to be here. I'd have never been able to come to LA. This is a man who is willing to help somebody out of the kindness of his heart. And that's what I love.
That's incredible. So, do you think there could, I mean, I think he's one of the most eloquent speakers I've met in a
he's
long
amazing.
time. So,
He's
could there be a
amazing.
future for him in speaking publicly about this?
Well, that's what we started at LEAP, and we're going to help him develop it. And we had talked about different things that Kyle could do. And, you know, he thought about being a therapist or psychologist. And I said, Kyle, you're never going to be able to do that unless you get a college degree, because you have to be able to be educated to educate people.
Yeah.
And so I have a little surprise for you, Kyle. We did some research, and I found an amazing university for you. Colorado Technical University is going to grant you the opportunity to get a college degree through a full-paid 4-year grant.
Oh, you know what that means, Kyle? Thank you, Dr. Bill.
They're going to give you your full tuition. They're going to give you all of the fees that you need for the courses. They're going to give you a program that will be done at your own pace, where you can do it in your house, on your computer.
So it's virtual.
It's a virtual online course. And not only that, they will help cater the program to you for your specific learning abilities. And Kyle, if 23,000 kids can do this, you can too. And
So amazing.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, Dr. Bill. You don't really know what that means.
Oh,
You
my
don't.
goodness.
I mean, now I feel like as a mama, he has a chance.
Thank every one of you. Appreciate you.
say hi to LEAP, Kyle.
Hello, everybody. Are y'all enjoying your stay at LEAP? Okay. I love the energy in here. Okay, so how you want to go about this, Doc?
It's all you, man. By the way, this is a big time for Kyle. The last time he got in an airplane was here at UCLA.
Several years ago, absolutely. So I generally speak on, substance abuse, drinking and driving. We all grow up knowing that you shouldn't drink and drive. That's common knowledge, yes. How many people in here know somebody that's been affected by drinking and driving? Anybody? Show of hands. Surely your friends, your family, your family's friends. Parents tell you, you don't drink and drive, right? Yeah? Because you could get hurt. Or you could hurt somebody else, yeah? I'd assume that. Well, I never thought that happened to me. Not a day in my life. I didn't think that could happen to anybody. I was just willing to take the chance because that's what all my friends did. It didn't work, just so y'all know. And it put me in a position to where I not only could have taken my own life, but I had 3 people in a car with me. And I just dropped them off not even 5 minutes before I had my car wrecked. So that means I not only would have debilitated myself to the point that I wouldn't have been able to walk and depended on everybody around me before. But I took the lives of 3 of my friends. Nobody wants to take the life of their friends, much less 3. Most people can't handle that on their conscience. I don't think anybody could. So when I get up here and I speak with Dr. Bill and your family, they look at you and they say, you shouldn't drink and drive. You look at the older generation and they're like, they don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, they do. They absolutely do. But me coming up on stage and showing you the repercussions of what could happen from drinking and driving, that's an eye-opener. It opened my eyes, because when you're young, you do a lot of things that you don't think about. And then later on, you have a lot of regrets, even if you don't think you regret it right there, because it comes back on you. And either you or your loved ones, the ones you care for, they have to pick up the slack. I got my brother here. I got my family to take care of me. And I got a loving network of family, friends, and support to take care of me. I'd be in a much worse position than I am right now. You see an end product. Throughout my day, I can't even get out of bed. I have to have somebody come help me out of bed. We don't know what we take for granted while we have it until it's gone. I just want y'all to know the impact that can lead on somebody else's life.
So, Kyle, you started off your life like a normal little kid here, right?
Absolutely.
Growing up in Tennessee. And then that. What you don't know is he literally hit a block wall of stone at how fast, Kyle?
45 miles an hour, but no seatbelt.
About 45 miles an hour with no seatbelt. And thank goodness he let those 3 friends out of the car, because for sure they wouldn't have survived.
Nope.
That's what the car looked like.
That's no engine. My engine's gone. I hit a rock so hard that it disintegrated the front of my car. So that's recklessly endangering. That's other people's lives on the road that you're messing with. Most people don't think of that. I didn't think about it. I just wanted to get where I was going. Me and Dr. Bill had compiled a presentation. You want to go with it, Quinny?
Yep.
Okay, so we got some facts about driving under the influence. About a third of deaths in the U.S. involve driving under the influence. A third, 33% of people on the road are under the influence, and it causes death. In the USA, 30 people die every day as a result of drunk driving crashing. It's 1 person every 48 minutes. Every hour, somebody dies from drinking and driving. And this youth, y'all are just getting your license. What is the age range here?
To get your license, 16.
Yes, and what is this here?
California. In California,
I'm
it's
talking
16.
about the youth in this room.
Oh, we're about half and half. Half the students are under 18 and half are over 18.
Okay.
How many of you are under 16? And how many are over 16? There you go.
Okay. How many of you have your license or just now getting your license? Y'all have very little experience on the road. That means every hour somebody is dying on the road due to drinking and driving, and you have no experience. That makes your likelihood go up exponentially. So be aware of your surroundings when you're transporting. Almost 2,000 college students die each year from drinking and driving. Recent drunk driving fatalities have decreased due to help from companies like Uber and Lyft. Now, back in the day, there wasn't services like this available. Maybe taxis in big cities. That's why your parents told you, if you're going to drink and drive, or you're going to be out with your friends, or you're out having a good time and something can come up, because eventually it will, to call them, have a responsible designated driver. Now it's much more efficient. You literally got an app on your phone that you can have a Lyft, an Uber, some kind of company that's willing to taxi you around or transport you from point A to point B. So there's really no point in getting behind a wheel under the influence at all. This year, isn't this something you came up with, Doc?
No, it's actually a real thing.
Oh, okay. This year, thousands of men will die from stubbornness. No, we won't.
Yeah, and you know, that's like, oh, I can drive. I only had 7 drinks. I'm fine. No, you're not.
No, you're not. DUI punishments in Tennessee: fine for the first DUI, $350 to $1,500 in fines plus a number of penalties, assessments, and fees up to $3,500. That's $3,500 just because you decided just to get behind the wheel. Mandatory jail time of 2 to 7 days. That's a week in jail. Driver's license may be suspended or revoked for a year. That's a whole year you're going to have to depend on somebody to take you to and fro. Families, friends, anybody. Anybody that's willing to take the time out of their day to make sure that you get to where you need to do, to the things you need to do or where you need to go. That's a lot for somebody. Mandatory drug and alcohol treatment programs. DUI isn't the worst case scenario. This is a real one. You can kill or harm yourself and others. That's one of the main ones. You think so, Doc?
Absolutely. I mean, having to live your life in a wheelchair is bad enough. But imagine if you have to do that knowing that you also killed 3 of your best friends. It's way worse.
That's going to weigh heavy on your conscience. Anybody's. So please, think before you decide to do something like that. For your friends, for your family. And these are the effects of excessive drinking: brain shrinkage, fatigue, heart damage, liver damage, thinning bones, stomach distress, cancer, lung infection, and malnutrition. We got a picture up here. Not everyone who gets hit by a drunk driver dies. There are worse things than death. How many drinks does it take typically? When your blood alcohol content, BAC, is 0.08 or higher, you're considered legally impaired in the U.S. For every 1 drink, your BAC goes up about 0.02%. Reaching a BAC of 0.08% takes about 4 drinks. So after 4 drinks, legally, you're intoxicated. And that's easy to come up on. 4 drinks doesn't seem like a lot. It doesn't. Okay. Alcohol content. Beer's around 5%. Wine's about 12 to 15% alcohol. And hard liquor's about 45% alcohol. Alcoholic content and immediate effects. It takes about 1 hour for your liver to break down the amount of alcohol in a standard alcoholic drink. 1 beer, 1 glass of wine, 1 shot. Alcohol content. If you drink faster than your liver can work, your blood alcohol level rises and you get drunk. So the quicker you drink, the easier it is for you to get drunk. Myths to sobering up. Absolutely. There are several myths that are tethered to drinking alcohol. Myth number 1, taking a cold shower. Is that true or false? Y'all heard that one before? It's false, ain't it? Okay. So they know about this already. I'm glad that you guys decided to be interactive with this. Myth number 2, throwing up will sober you up. It's false. Okay. They're pretty good. They're on top of it, Doc. Alcohol enters your bloodstream quickly, so it's not in your stomach.
True or false?
True. It's true. Okay. This is the 3rd myth. Eating fatty food sobers you up. False. Absolutely false. They're well aware of this. However, if you have food already in your stomach, the alcohol will be absorbed into your bloodstream slower.
True.
True. Okay, you guys are on top of it. I'm impressed. Myth number 4. Physical exercise will sober you up. Is that true or false? False. It's false. I think they've seen this before.
No. You're the first, Kyle.
Okay, well, I'm impressed either way. Myth number 5. The smaller you are, the faster you're legally going to get drunk. Is that true? It is true. Okay.
They're smart.
They are. They've been taking after you, dog. They know what's going on out here. Okay, so your blood alcohol concentration is directly related to how much you drink and your weight. That is very true. That's a fact. Fact, nothing speeds up how quickly your body breaks down alcohol. That's true. It takes about 1 hour to metabolize one drink, no matter what you do. That's a standard through all human beings. You're not going to be able to make it go any faster. A basic solution, ride sharing. About 50% of 18 to 24-year-olds said that using Lyft, Uber, and any other transportation service every time they go out drinking. That's a good number. That's half of it. You're going to reduce half of the fatalities right there just by using a service that's going to get you from point A to point B if you know that you're going to be under the influence. And if you don't know, these are the services you can contact. And they're easily accessible almost in every city around any state.
Last night we did a little segment called How to Be a Gentleman. And in it I have something called How to Treat People with Disabilities, the 3 R's. And again, it's kind of like when Dr. Bill says don't drink and drive, you realize, okay, yeah, I get it. When Kyle says don't drink and drive, that's a whole new dimension, right? So I asked Kyle to review this with you guys.
You understand. Number one, how to treat people with disabilities. The 3 R's. Respect. Same as anyone else to offer to shake hands. I know you realize that you see people in a position and they're debilitated and they may have several different, there's all kinds of medical conditions, that spina bifida, Guillain-Barré, cerebral palsy, just any muscular dystrophy, anything. You're not going to know everybody. Their intentions, how they view life, their perspective, their demeanor, and so they may be more difficult to approach, and breaking the ice may be difficult, but it can be done, and it shows a real high level of respect for that individual. And everybody deserves respect, dignity, love, and respect.
And you offer your hand. If somebody doesn't have the ability to shake your hand, they'll tell you, and that's okay.
Somebody will. And being polite, you can never go wrong being polite, being a gentleman. That's what you encourage, correct?
Yeah, and so I met Kyle when he was 19 years old. So he's 30 now. I've known him 11 years. And the main reason I'm sitting up here right now? Not just support. He can't do this. His thumb doesn't work like that. There's no way he could do the clicker.
When people reach out to grab something, I don't have that capability. And you don't realize how much you use your hands till you reach out and try to grab something and can't grip it.
But it's gotten a lot better. When I first met you, you couldn't even do this, remember?
Yeah. Yes, I was in a very, very debilitated position several years ago. And I have good family network, support, friends, my mother and father. And they've helped me along the way. So I'm gradually getting better. And I want to be in a manual wheelchair. But at this point, I am not, but I will be soon. I promise you that.
The thing I really love about having Kyle here to talk to you guys real honestly too, you see the tip of the iceberg. For instance, any one of you could get on a plane and go anywhere you want in the country. Kyle can't do that. He's got Jesse and Paige here. Without Jesse and Paige, there'd be no Kyle.
No, absolutely not.
And, we don't like to ask for help. That's just human nature, But, at a certain point, you got to kind of just face the fact. There's stuff you can't do without help.
For me specifically, yes, and that goes for a lot of people. At some point, everybody's going to need help. Anybody in here ever never not needed help at any point in time? No, you needed help at some point? I believe everybody's needed help at some point, yeah? And a lot of people don't like to ask for help. People are set in their ways. They think that they can do it all on their own. It's not beneath you to ask for help. It's not. You need to try to do everything that you can do yourself, because that's the best way to be in life, to make sure that you can do everything that you can possibly do. But you're going to need help at some point. So we don't look down upon others who do need help. We help them, and a lot of people do it with kindness and being polite. That goes a long way.
And that's really what touched my heart. I interviewed about 10 young men at the Shepherd Center that day. And within maybe a minute or two of me meeting Kyle, here I see this young man recently. It was a week after his accident. And I'm looking at him, and I could barely hear him. You know, they had to go in his trachea so he could breathe, you know, and I said, Kyle, what are you going to do in your life? He said, help other people. I'm like, are you kidding? And that's why I felt it was so important to bring Kyle back here. And what I would love for you guys to do is this whole presentation is going to be videoed, and we'll have a nice copy of it. When you go back to your school or your colleges or your universities, and they're looking for speakers that can come and talk about drinking and driving, I'd love for you to help connect them.
That would be wonderful.
Get it? Good.
That would be great. I appreciate you guys for that. Connections make everything.
Because I think the best way to make life out of lemons is to make lemonade. And if Kyle can go and talk and impact one kid, it's worth it.
It makes a difference.
Let's go on number 2.
Okay, number 2, relax. Behave naturally. You may not know what everybody's going to be like when you approach them. They may come out of their way. There's a lot of times that I go out of my way to speak to most of you people. All you people, everybody, anybody in general, because they don't know how to break the ice. And I can sit here and I can talk to each one of you like I'm talking to my best friend, because you are my friends. It's easier for me to approach you than it is for you to approach me, because you don't know me. You don't know my demeanor. And I understand that. Not everybody's like that. Not everybody has the confidence to go up to somebody and be like, hey, how you doing? You all right? You need anything? Everything's all right? Yeah. And that natural behavior goes a long way. It helps you out. It helps develop you as a being, and it makes people in my position feel better, honestly, because they don't get that kind of interactivity. They don't. They deal with the same people day in and day out, and they don't have the confidence in themselves because of their position. Your position, your disability, no matter what it is, even if you're perfectly fine, does not define you. It doesn't. You are who you are because you're great. This here is because you're a 10, and you're going to promote that. Third reason, reasonable common courtesy. Offer to open doors. Blind people aren't deaf. That's a good one. If somebody can't see, don't yell at them. You know what I'm saying? Like, sorry, that one really cracked me up.
So I think that one of the other things that I'd like you to talk to these guys about is, you know, again, you see a young man in a wheelchair and you think, oh man, he can't walk. That's not the worst part.
That's not the beginning of it.
That's
not the fifth.
I mean,
I got a
yeah.
whole list that I got to before I
Well,
get there.
I think you should share this with these guys, because they don't understand the infections, and I mean, there's a lot of stuff that happens before walking.
Okay, I think they're prepared for it. First and foremost, we take a lot of things for granted. Getting up out of the bed every day, I can't roll out of the bed. I can't roll in the bed. I have to have somebody assist me with just about everything that I do. I can talk to you.
Let's talk about bed. You have to turn Kyle all the time,
'Cause bed
if
sores.
not, he'll get bed sores.
That's a thing.
And you don't even think about that.
No.
You lay in bed, your body just naturally does that. But imagine if you were laying in bed for years. We're talking years now.
Yeah.
You get bed sores. So you have to manually, the first year that Kyle came to LEAP, I just had Kyle come with his mom, Elaine.
No.
And she said, do you think you could get a little bit of assistance for us? I'm thinking, why does she need help? you know? And so I assigned 2 coaches. They said, Doc, he wore me out.
Because you don't see it. You only see the finished product. There is a whole routine that my girlfriend Paige back there does on a daily basis every single day. From the morning to the time I get in bed, and I'm old by this point. I get in bed at 6 o'clock, okay? And I'm not ashamed to admit it. 6 o'clock is like my cap. If I'm at 8, I'm out. I'm tapped out. But anyways, I can't sit up on the edge of the bed. Most people get up in the morning and they go use the bathroom. They go urinate, you know, take a pee, brush their teeth, all that stuff. I need assistance with that. These are the things that I need assistance with that I cannot do myself. And everybody does this on a daily basis because it's part of their routine. This is what they do. And I don't mind getting up here and telling you every bit of this because there's some people that are not as comfortable as I am saying it. These are things that I'll work towards for the rest of my life. And I appreciate the assistance that I got, and I have these goals set in mind. But if I wanted you to see the gravity of the situation of what it's actually like for a man in my position or a woman in my position, you're not going to see it by looking at the finished product. Me rolling up on this stage and being able to talk to you like you're my best friend, you know what I'm saying? You're not going to see what's behind the scenes. You're going to say, oh, he's doing well for himself. He's up there, he's talking to us. I am because somebody put me in that position. My family, my friends, which I jeopardized in a lot of ways by not thinking about them carelessly. So it's a miracle.
And even after all the miraculous things that medical science did to save Kyle's life, how many more surgeries have you had since your accident, Kyle?
Okay, so I had my spinal fusion. I fractured my C4, crushed my C5, shifted my spine an inch, lacerated, damaged, and bruised it. So they gave me a tracheotomy. They did a spinal fusion at the C4, C5 level. My spasms are so bad that I can breathe in, and it will send me through shock. So they decided that I had to have a baclofen pump, which put about a 3-inch scar on the side of my stomach, and they implemented a pump in my stomach that goes straight to my spinal column. And it delivers medication to make sure that I don't draw up every time I try to move. So that's the second one. I have a suprapubic catheter, which that one is a rubber tube that goes straight to my bladder that has to be changed monthly. So I have a rubber tube that is in my pubic region that goes about 1.5 inches to 3 inches deep. And I change it every month and it stays there constantly.
And all the infections you had with that.
There are associated and any risks associated with any surgery, period. You will sign a waiver whenever you go under the knife saying that there are complications and associated risks such as infection.
I mean, since I can remember at least 8 or 9 surgeries you've had, at least.
And millions of dollars, probably,
Yeah.
I'd assume.
Thank goodness for insurance.
Yes, if my parents wouldn't have had insurance, I'd have got base care, I'd have been paralyzed, sorry about that, from my neck down, I wouldn't have been able to move, period. But my mother and father worked at some automotive industries that held good insurance, and it allowed me to at least get good medical surgeries.
Yeah. So we're going to open this up for questions. Kyle said he'd be happy to answer questions if anybody has any questions.
Anybody. The whole slew of questions.
Go ahead and stand up and they'll bring a mic to you.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Marlo.
Hello, Marlo.
I was wondering, I live in a community where everyone thinks it's okay to drink and drive. I mean, we've had school presentations, and it's just ridiculous, and even my friends, and there's nothing I can say at this point. So are there any like extremely powerful words or things I should show or that you think are extra beneficial if you can't hear like someone in your position speak live?
Let me answer this. This is going to be a video that we will make available. Would you contact me at the LEAP office? I will give you this presentation for you to give to your school, and let's have Kyle go out there.
Absolutely.
You know, I mean, Kyle has made a commitment. Like I said, the first thing he said to me is, I want to help people.
Absolutely.
And the best way that he can help people is to share his life experience with people.
Shows.
Because all your friends that drink and drive, they don't think anything bad will ever happen to them either, right? When they see living proofs of somebody that proves them differently, hopefully they'll be smart enough to make an impact, right?
Very good question. Absolutely.
Over here.
Hi, Kyle.
Yes, ma'am.
My name's Shay. I'm from Canada. Do you want? Here,
Yeah, I
I'll
got
go
you.
over here.
I'll turn around.
Yeah, no, I'll come to you. So thank you for being here. Thank you for spending your time with us. My question for you, I just graduated from school. I just got a degree in kinesiology, and I work as a rehabilitation assistant.
Amazing.
So I just want to know, kind of walk us through what your physical therapy was like, how intense it was at the start, and if you're still
Currently or at the beginning of my accident?
kind of start to finish, like what it was like at the start, and if you're
Well-
still going through it.
At the beginning of your accident, your spinal cord is on shock. So you're going to be, I was in intensive care unit for 2 weeks, and you're not going to be able to move, none of your body. Your body's going to be in shock to the point that you won't move at all. You'll be on a respirator, there'll be machines breathing for you. I have a scar on my stomach where I was fed through a tube. I had multiple tubes in and out of my nose and my throat. They had to actually cut my throat open and put a whole tube in my throat in order for me to get all the tubes out of my face. So that's the initial, and your body's gonna swell till you're unrecognizable. Like, you won't be recognizable at all. In fact, they didn't know how to identify my body. They contacted the wrong person. I was pronounced dead on scene when they found me, dead on arrival. And then they kept finding signs of my life, so I was touch and go by the end of it. You swell up, you're in spinal shock, you wait for the swelling to go down, and then you're pretty much paralyzed from head to toe and completely dependent on machines and people to take care of you. And then they take you, and once you're stabilized medically, you'll go to inpatient, and that's about 3 months. And that's just to make sure, well, your medical condition is stable enough in order to proceed to outpatient therapy. You're not gonna die once you get up. And then you go to about 3 months, and that's if you have the insurance. Say you have the insurance for it. And this is where I went to Shepherd Center, where I had met Dr. Bill. It is one of the most amazing facilities ever for any injury whatsoever. Burn victims, spinal injuries. It specializes in spinal injuries and brain injuries, ABIs, TBIs, acquired brain injuries, traumatic brain injuries. But all in all, it'll probably take anywhere from 3 to 6 months, and it's going to be intensive care, all the way from start to finish, to stabilize your life, to seeing what functionality you're going to get back, because you have a high probability you're not going to get any functionality back. Every spinal cord is different. Every injury is different. They all function on the same principle, but you're never going to get the same injury. So where one person may be able to play rugby and they have quadriplegia, or tetraplegia stands for the paralysis in more than 2 limbs. So there are many levels of paralysis. Most people believe when you're paralyzed that, well, he can't walk. That's what I thought before I became paralyzed. I thought if you got paralyzed, well, you just can't walk. That is not true. There are many forms of paralysis, many forms. Paraplegia is where you have paralysis in 2 limbs. Doesn't necessarily have to be your legs. It's just 2. Tetraplegia or quadriplegia is 4 limbs, more than 2 limbs, more than 3 limbs. You even got special paralysis that can just be onset through a virus called Guillain-Barré. I was in Shepherd Center, and that was one of them. You catch a virus, and then you wake up one day and you can't move. Your breathing shuts down, everything. So you wake up and hope somebody finds you in time that they can get you to a hospital where they can get you on a machine that breathes for you. So all in all, it's going to generally take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. It's going to be specialized care, because not everybody knows how to deal with paralysis. I think maybe the Shepherd Center is one of the few that is top-notch, that's probably in the nation. You may have some in your hometown that are not as well equipped, but you're going to want to get to the best care available. That's going to be your primary goal. So,
And on an ongoing basis, what are you doing now, Kyle?
excellent question, by the way. Daily, you have to set a routine for yourself. You have to be proactive in everything that you do, and combating whatever paralysis you have. I'm highly spastic. That's one thing that I have. I have amazing network of friends and family. See you back there, Dennis, Jesse, Paige. I love you guys. And I got a friend here of the family who I consider family, who's taking care of me, and it's why I'm still here today, 10 years later, a decade later. But you're going to want to work with whatever you have available, no matter what it is. So if you can move it, move it. If it's hard for you to move it, make it difficult on yourself and move it anyway. So,
We'll do one more question.
Hello?
Yep.
okay, my bad. I'm sorry, gentlemen.
You're on.
Hello?
Yeah,
Hey, Kyle, I'm Diego.
nice to meet
So
you,
in the
Diego.
video, you mentioned that you wanted to go into psychology. Where are you now when it comes to that?
I haven't developed my career in psychology. I would rather be a motivational speaker. Dr. Bill has been gracious enough to give me the platform to do that. So I would like to speak publicly, motivatingly. There are some very successful people out there who do speak publicly. I think that would be more in my wheelhouse. I'm not a psychologist. I do believe you have done a little bit of psychology, haven't you, Doctor? I didn't grasp it, but it's something that I would have to work towards. But I geared myself towards motivatingly speaking to the youth, our generation. So, thank you.
That's awesome. You guys, let's give it up for Kyle Thomas, for Jesse, for Paige, for bringing him out here.
Thank you, guys. Wow. Love
You too.
it. Woo. My bad.
You're back.
My bad.
All right.
All right, guys. I appreciate y'all's time. Y'all have a wonderful one. Thank you. All right, guys. I'll see y'all later. Oh, yeah. Whoa.